yeah, moving on to your boys then next. Aston Villa 2, Brighton 2. I mean, this is a good point, mate. This is a good game. This was a set of very good teams playing against each other with some brilliant goals, really entertaining for the neutral. So surely you've got to be happy with a draw.
I'm not happy with the draw. No. We should have won the game. We were in a really commanding position at one point, and then we kind of lost control of it in the last sort of 20, maybe 15 minutes and let Brighton back in, and that's really frustrating. Obviously, you go 1-0 down early, and that can rattle you, but Villa have done really well at gaining points from losing positions. Even before this game, I think it was 11, so it's up to 12 now. I think only Liverpool and Man City have gained more. So once you're ahead, you kind of expect Villa to stay ahead, and they were really dominant in a lot of key areas. Like Tielemans and Kamara were excellent again. Rodgers was doing so well as he does at driving the ball forward. Watkins was making a nuisance out of himself, and it was so obvious that they needed that third goal. It was so clear what would happen if they didn't, and they failed to capitalise on a few key chances, and then Brighton go and get an excellent goal back, and it's so frustrating. I mean, there is aspects of this game that you have to be pleased with. The fact that we got the point despite losing Torres early, despite the fact we were without Cash and Duran through suspension as well. So there's a couple of key players missing. Mings came in and did a pretty good job again. Watkins showed what he's made of, really. I do wish he maybe took one more chance or two more chances even that he had presented to him. But his link-up play with Rodgers was excellent, and his assist for the goal was really, really good, and Rodgers took that incredibly well. So, yeah, it's hard because there are positives to take, but it feels hard to take them when you concede the victory so late on again.
It's great to see Watkins on the score sheet and to see him pivotal to the attack again with an assist as well. But I think for me, I'm just so impressed once again by Morgan Rodgers, who's turning into basically Jude Bellingham Mark II, isn't he? He seems that kind of player. He's always getting forward. He's always got that mentality to drive the team towards the goal. He's going to be key, I think, to this evolution of Aston Villa. And at the start of the season, we were looking at the lay of the land. You did a system, like a season preview, didn't you, for Villa, which is still up. Go and check it out. And I don't think in any aspect did you see him as being an initial starter so regularly, at least, did you?
Whoa. If you remember our pre-season predictions, we talked about ones to watch for this season. And you and Dave both picked Ahmad. Who did I pick?
Yes, you said Morgan Rodgers, but in terms of being a consistent regular starter, I think he's hit levels that we didn't expect would appear right now. But he's so comfortable as an attacking midfielder, isn't he? He drives plays so brilliantly.
Do you know what I think is the most exciting thing about him? He doesn't look perfect. He doesn't look finished yet.
True.
There's still obvious flaws in his game that I'm confident Emery will help him improve. That's the most exciting thing, that he's capable of this right now, and I can still see where I want him to improve. I mean, he took that goal incredibly well for someone who's finishing at the times could be a bit suspect. But yeah, his strength is the thing that really amazes me. I hate to make the comparison, Villa fans might say it's lazy. It reminds me of old school Jack Grealish, who would just pick the ball up and drive, and it was really hard to knock him off the ball, and the only way to get him down was to foul him. Rodgers will ride through a foul, and the amount of times you see advantage played because Morgan Rodgers is just able to take a beating and keep running forward. Yeah, he's fantastic. It's frustrating. He picked up a yellow card in this game, which means he's suspended for our next game, and it was never a yellow. So that's an annoying thing to lose him against Leicester, because we really need to pick up some form and some momentum, and I want that game to be a bit of a springboard for Villa. They need to go out there and really show what they're made of, because we have the capability to kill teams off. That's what I don't understand about us at the moment. Our goal difference makes it look like we're kind of passive in a lot of games, and it's like, oh, we'll draw here, or we'll win 1-0, or we'll lose 1-0. But actually, the way we dominate the pitch at times, particularly in that midfield area, the creativity of Tielemans, the way that Bailey is able to get forward and get at players, we should have it in us to be clinical and put 4 or 5 past the team. But
I agree.
We do seem to lack that cutting edge in the final third sometimes. And I think the fact that Leon Bailey obviously isn't getting on the score sheet this season, Watkins, I don't want to criticise him, because I do think he brings so much to this team still. And I think you can't be too critical of a guy that gets a goal and an assist in his first game back. But he probably could have had 3. The only reason he could have had 3 is because he's Ollie Watkins and his movement is so good. So give him the credit for getting the chance in the first place. I see Villa fans slating him and saying that they would rather have Duran back. It's absolutely ridiculous to me, and it's people trying to make a bit of a name for themselves on Twitter or Blue Sky by being controversial. He's one of the best number 9s Villa have ever had in the Premier League.
He's had the rub of the green, though. He had a real purple patch last season where everything seemed to go his way. Even his scuffs ended up in the back of the net. And now it's not come as easily to him. But I think the Premier League have got smarter to Ollie Watkins. It's not his fault. He's just got to learn to adapt to a different way of getting the ball in the back of the net. I don't think
I'm not even sure they
have.
Long. I don't think it's that people have figured him out. I think it's his confidence, to be honest. He's still getting the chances.
I think he's got less space than he had, and his shots at goal are coming from a lot more difficult angles and further out than they used to be. He's not getting as close to goal as he used to, and I think that's where, defences have kind of got a little bit wiser to him.
Potentially, but even last season, you saw him take goals from any sort of angle, and he'd hit the ball across the goal. I mean, think about that goal he scored for England in the semi-final.
Yeah,
It's an incredibly tight angle, but he relied a lot on his instincts, and that's why I think it was a confidence thing. He was willing to hit a shot first time. The amount of times I see Watkins overthink what he's doing at the moment, and he takes too long to take the shot. Either his first touch lets him down when he's running through on goal, and that's where the space is lost. Really often he finds the space beyond the centre-back, but as the ball's coming through, it bounces off his heel or something, and then he's fighting a bit of a losing battle. Or he gets the ball and he could take a shot first time. He tries to take another touch and he lets the defender back in. He's still getting the same space. He's just not being as quick to react to it. And I do think that's a bit of a confidence thing, but Emery's got that confidence out of him before by backing him and making him his number one guy. Look, I'm not saying I would, but I wouldn't be necessarily shocked if we saw a big money bid come in for Duran in January and Villa consider it. Okay. And then we'll see what that means for Watkins.
Wow, okay. Okay, before we start, give us Brighton a bit of credit. Let's just put a question to you. Okay, so you mentioned Jack Grealish earlier. Would you ever do a swap for Grealish and Rodgers going back to their old clubs? In what world does that ever happen, do you think?
No, definitely not. No, of course you wouldn't. The age profile ruins that question, and I think the fact that Grealish is kind of not the player that we let go. I'd always like to see him back in one capacity, although I will say I went to the Villa City game the other day, the reception he got and the way he acted, I'm not sure that's on the cards anytime soon, as much as maybe we thought it. But no, Rodgers, City would kill Rodgers the way that they kill Grealish. He should never be thinking about that. And he's a player whose ceiling seems incredibly high right now. I honestly wonder where he'll get to. I think he'll be an England regular within a couple of years. I honestly do. He looks so electric. It's the only thing he'll suffer from is, again, he falls into those same sort of spaces that Cole Palmer and Phil Foden want to occupy, and Bellingham, obviously, if he wants to be more advanced as well. So getting him into that squad is going to be a challenge. But he's so versatile in the way that he can play with the ball that it wouldn't surprise me if we saw him drop back to more of an 8 that helps progress the ball forward at some point. Yeah. He's fantastic, Rodgers.
Yeah, it's pretty versatile, isn't he? But